Sorry. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to Rejuvenate Edition 5. It's so exciting to see you guys. And of course, like Nash was saying, it's a beautiful day today, and I just thought I had to tee off the session for Rejuvenate Edition 5. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Nash, Kath, Zulaikah, how are all of you doing?
Morning, Andrew. We're all fine.
Good. Yes.
Fantastic to have you guys. Now,
thank you.
Rejuvenate Edition 5, like I said, it is the month of October. Malaysia celebrates our world's, National Sports Day in October, and we're so glad to have Zulaikah, obviously a budding, up-and-coming golfer, flying the Malaysian flag high and proud. We've got the parents here today as well. It's the first time that we've got a parent who is in the show together with us. I'm just so thrilled and excited that I'm lost for words. Truly. Welcome. Would you all like to say hi to our audience today?
Yes, hi. Good morning to everyone. I'm Catherine, Zulaikah's mom.
Hi, everybody. This is Nash, Zulaikah's dad. And I just want to start off by thanking Andrew for having us this morning. And hi to Zulaikah as well.
Hi, I'm Zulaikah. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, before I continue, Zulaikah, you saw me, kind of like doing that tee off. Any word of advice?
No, I think you look good.
No, I actually don't play golf. I don't even go on the driving range. But whenever you're back in Malaysia, maybe we can get a couple of driving range session going, and you can then properly teach me how to play golf.
Oh, why not?
Okay. I want to get started very quickly. Zulaikah, perhaps I will let you kick off the session by letting you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us what you do.
Hi, I'm Zulaikah. I'm 19 years old. I am a student at Sam Houston State University. I'm majoring in mass communication, and I'm on the women's golf team.
Fantastic. And obviously, next to you on the screen is affectionately known as Nash and Kath, Nasir, Hamid, and Catherine, parents of yours. Passing over the floor to you, Nash, maybe you just quick introduction about yourself.
I won't get into my age. That might frighten some of the viewers. My name is Nasir Hamid. I'm a legal practitioner. I have a small firm in Petaling Jaya. I think basically that's it. I'll pass it over to Catherine.
Yeah, hi. I'm Catherine, but I'm just staying at home.
Okay, so just to add on a little bit, I understand that Kath is obviously the manager for Zulaikah, and Nash, I heard you're an expert driver.
Well, through the years, since she started when she was 7 years old with training and 10 years ago tournament, I've driven all over the country, driving them around to tournaments and things like that. So, I think as you well emphasized, I'm the driver, plus I do all the other menial stuff, but I would credit Kat for making sure that we get there on time, making sure the food is all sorted out, and Zulaikah is all, the golf clubs are all okay, we've got enough supply of balls, so I would credit her with being the team leader. I play a smaller role, but when it comes to personalities and things like that, I also do play a little bit of the psychological role with Zulaikah. So I think those are my areas of input in this team.
Okay, we will hang on to the thought of getting you more brownie points from Kath, Nash. Very quickly for our audience, Zulaikah, Nurziana, Nasser is a golfer. She is based in the US currently at the Sam Houston State University. Is that right? I got that right? Okay. And she's been playing golf since, as Nash has mentioned earlier, since she was 7. I want to get straight into that, Zulaikah. At 7, you are already at the golf course playing golf. Wow, is that considered young, or is that considered a little too late already in terms of trying to get into the game of golf?
No, I don't think it's too young because I have friends, and even like Tiger Woods started when he was what, 2, 3 years old. So I think that I'm at a perfect age. I was just trying out different sports and, just ended up being golf. So, but I don't think it's too early. I think it's just the perfect age, 7, 8 years old. Yeah.
Hold that thought. You just mentioned you tried out many different sports and golf just kind of landed on you. I'm sure there was something that made that happen as well, because if you think about it, golf isn't really well, so to speak, mainstream sport here in Malaysia, especially for kids. So what got you into golf at that very early age?
Well, my cousins used to play golf. I mean, they still do play golf. And I think just growing up, being around them and seeing how fun it is. And I did try many sports. I did swimming, I did figure skating, anything you can think of, I did. I tried. But somehow golf really clicked with me. My dad says and always says now that golf chose me. I didn't choose golf. So I think that it's a perfect sport because, it's like non-contact, it's an individual sport. There is team events, like I'm in a team now, but it's mainly individual. You work by yourself, your success comes with your own hard work, and I like that. So I think golf just really chose me, and I think it's perfect for me.
Nash, speaking of that, Nash, do you play golf?
The funny thing is, neither Kat or me play golf. So it's like I think Zulaikah just said golf chose her because neither of us played golf. And to be honest, before she took up the game, I thought golf was, my God, it's one of the most boring games ever.
What sports do you play then, Nash and Kat?
I in school I played volleyball and also running. Yes.
As for me, I love sports. In school, I played everything. Everything in school: sepak takraw, football, cross country, marathons. Then when I got to university, I was a member of the university hockey team. But I enjoy golf, just watching it and just participating sometimes. I never made it to any state level or whatever, but I just love sports so much.
So I guess from here we can tell that it's really important when both, well, either parent actually get themselves involved in a little bit of sports, and that just kind of channels through to their children as well, right?
Yes.
Just very quickly digressing it a little bit, would you consider esports today as a form of sports, Nasir?
Esports. I don't know much about it, but I think any activities that's got the word sport in it, it's okay. Andrew, when you say esports, are you talking about like
gaming?
Gaming.
Yes.
Okay. I have a problem with that. If that's the situation, I have a problem with it because for me, maybe because of my background or how old I am, for me, sports means you go outdoors. You go outdoors in the fresh air and the sunshine. Esports, in that sense, to me, I wanted to say something about sports generally, how important it is to children, and I want to promote it because I think we should get our children away from gadgets because they sit in these dark rooms in front of these screens, and I have a problem with that. I'm not saying technology is bad, but when I say sports, I mean you go out there, you play in the sunshine, you interact with people. Esports there is a little bit of interaction, but to me, it doesn't qualify as sports. I hope I'm not stepping on any toes, but this is just my personal opinion.
Okay, great. Now, Zulaikah, at the age of 7, you started playing. Walk us through a little bit in terms of when you started getting serious, I suppose? Or rather, when did your parents started thinking, you know what, Zulaikah is pretty talented. Let's get her into a couple of tournaments here and there, you know, back in the neighborhood, that sort of a thing. And just walk us through a little bit on that.
Well, honestly, I think it has been very serious from the start. I started playing tournaments when I was 10 and won my first tournament when I was 12, and it was an international tournament. And I think just since I was 10 years old and I actually went to Scotland to play the US kids. And it's just, I think, honestly, just like I said from the start, it's just been very serious. And I just knew that that's what I wanted to do my whole like teenage life. And, you know, like my dad said, you know, I think sports, you need to go out and get sun. And I just liked golf and just going out. And I mean, I was in other sports as well, but nothing really clicked with me as well as golf has. So yeah, but I think at the age of 14, when I started playing like amateur tournaments and, you know, started producing scores and, you know, really starting to see my own potential, I think that's when I really started to get invested in golf. And like at the age of 15, I started applying for college and stuff like that. So I really had to say to myself, is this what you really want to do to move on in life? So yeah.
Nash and Kat, do you recall when was her first tournament?
Yes, when she was 10 years old. And it was...
I think the RSGC tournament was the very first one. We remember a little funny anecdote. You want to tell?
Yeah.
You want to tell Andrew about that? At that very first tournament, the trolley was higher than Zulaikah. So so that is what we remember, because
And she went and ran
and the trolley like ran over the ball and she got penalized for it. So that's a funny moment that we can always relate to when she put the very first tournament.
Do you recall getting her first set of clubs?
Yes, very vividly, very vividly. We started with a second-hand set.
For 250.
Yeah, for 250 ringgit.
Only five clubs of it.
Yeah. So that was the very first set, and then we moved on from there. So we remember vividly because it was a second-hand Dunlop set, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it? A Dunlop set, yes.
Now, golf as I know it back in the day, and in fact, perhaps even now, it is a very, very, you know, investment-heavy kind of a sport. You know, you talked about going out in the sun. I'm just looking out at my office window now, beautiful weather. I just go to any of the public fields and I can just kick a ball and play football. Badminton, as long as we have the gate in a landed property, we are literally playing badminton. You know,
Exactly.
we just got to be careful of cars and stuff like that, right?
Correct.
Now, golf is an entirely different thing. Controlled environment, controlled, you know, area and space. A lot of safety is involved in that sense. And obviously equipment, golf shoes, gloves, and of course the biggest investment here is obviously the clubs as well.
Yep.
I suppose my question leads to Nash and Kath. Why did you want to go into this pathway? That's one. And number two, yes, perhaps Zulaikah did show potential, and you thought, why not? Along the way, along the journey, more and more tournaments come into place, and the more you got to drive, the more time you've got to sacrifice and all that. Can I just get your thought process at that very moment in time back then?
Do you want to start?
No, you.
Okay.
And
When we started golf, both of us didn't know anything about golf. We learned as we went along. And as we went along, we found out, look, we've already put our foot in here. It is going to be expensive. And there's so many costs to golf. As you rightly pointed out, the clubs is just one aspect. When we moved from the second-hand club to her next club. What brand was that again?
The
On-off set, which cost us put us back another 10,000 ringgit. We knew once we were in and we saw Zulaikah's potential, and the coaches also supported our view that she had the potential. We said, we are in here, whatever it takes, we will support her all the way through. We have got coaching costs, we've got travel costs, but I can say clearly with a clear conscience, I think we both don't have any regrets, and we are seeing the results today. It's an elite sport. It's one of the most expensive, it's not the most expensive sport, but it is an expensive sport. And we being a middle income family, it takes a big chunk of our earnings. And it is an investment, not only in time. I just want to tell parents who are thinking of golf, okay, money is one thing, but if you don't have the time to invest in driving around, going to places, spending time with her at the initial stage, because later you can drop her off at the driving range with the coach and go off. But when she starts off, you want to make sure she's okay, she's got everything with her. So I hope that answers your question, Andrew. It is a big investment, but it's a great investment. That's what I'd say.
So if I turn back the clock now, you will not change anything, Nash and Kat?
No.
Not a thing.
No.
We are
Not
so
a thing,
happy
yeah.
that we could. Not a thing. Not a thing. No regrets. No regrets whatsoever.
Yeah.
Zulaikah, how proud are you of your parents?
Very, because without them, without my mom and my dad, I would not be sitting here. Without them pushing me every day after school, every day, my mom coming with me for tournaments, and we'd be on the road. My dad, when I was younger, it would be fasting month and he would be fasting, and I would be out in the hot sun. He would be out in the hot sun with me. He's fasting, and it's not easy. And my mom would be at practice with me, as my coach, and she never leaves my side. So I really appreciate that, because if it wasn't for her, after school, I would, you're tired and stuff like that. But if she, every time your mom nags you and you're like, oh no, I don't want to do it, but I'm glad she did, because I wouldn't be here.
So you mentioned a point there earlier, all that time spent training and traveling and after school and whatnot, and I'm sure you train. How many hours do you train a day? Back in the day and now, just kind of put it into comparison.
Well, back in the day when I was in high school, I had school from 9 to 4. And then I would go for practice after school, so maybe about 2 to 3 hours. But if I finished early, I would say an average of 3 to 4 hours a day. But over here, I want to say about 6 or 7 hours.
Okay. How does that affect your studies back then and even now?
It's all about time management. I'm still learning to be a good student athlete, but it's basically just pushing through every single day, being in the moment, because what I've learned being in college, you cannot think too far, because for me, I just get very overwhelmed very easily. So I just take it day by day. There is definitely going to be classes where your professors are going to be very difficult. You're going to have a bunch of homework, but for me, it's just like I have to find time where, saying that, let me put this hour for my homework. And then, later tonight, I can probably stay up later and, have a little me time. Or if I do homework in the morning, I can practice a little longer. And sleep-wise, I just have to push through it every day, because we have workouts, we have tournaments, we have practices and stuff like that. So it's just a lot of time management and just knowing when to, really push everything aside, get homework done, and then do everything else.
Nash and Kath, has there been any point in time that you felt that, Zulaikah, you got to stop golf? I think your studies is just, dipping a little bit in that sense. Has that thought ever come into your minds at all?
No, not me. Not me. I always put a priority to golf and study.
Can I say it's a balance? Of course, you spend a lot of time training, until night and you're tired, then you got to go back and do your homework. So we had to spend a little bit more on tuition on certain days. But it was a balance, never one in place of the other, Andrew, if I can say that. It was trying to get a balance right.
So I can see from this very short conversation that we're having right now that it seems like this whole partnership that you guys have got going on here is really a solid team in that sense, and Zulaikah gets the support from you guys, and I'm sure Zulaikah supports you guys as well, and literally you just have to, like a well-oiled machine, right? You just got to work very well together in that sense, and a lot of give and take, I suppose.
Yes.
Yep.
It's just like life. There'll be ups and there'll be downs. There'll be good days at the golf course. There won't be so good days in the golf course. And parents, we have our own views how to do things. Kat may think one way, I may think the other. There will be friction. I mean, in any family there is, but more so when you get your daughter involved in competitive sport. But at the end of the day, I think we slowly learn, okay, this kind of thing, I don't say anything, I leave it to the mother. Certain things, she leaves it to me. And sometimes I would say, being a parent, I have put extra pressure on Zulaikah at the very early stages, being very driven because I want to see her succeed. And then later I realized, look, hello, you got to step back. She is a human being. She has got flaws, and then she's got her strong points. I think in the team, I'm the one who's a little bit crazy, but I think Zulaikah will attest to that. But I think I've learned, and I've grown better as I've grown older. Yeah.
Now you mentioned good days in golf and bad days in golf. Now, 2 days before, or was it after your 19th birthday? I think it was 2 days before your 19th birthday, right? That's when you won in Alabama. Can you explain to us a little bit about that experience?
Well, it was the first tournament of our whole season. I was incredibly nervous. I knew I've put in the work before, but I was just, it's an opening season and I just wanted to do very well. And every tournament that I go to, obviously everybody wants to do well, but coming back from Malaysia, I was in lockdown for 2 months. I couldn't practice, couldn't do anything, and coming back here, cramming all my practice into 2 weeks, non-stop practice. And I was incredibly nervous, but I just said to myself, whatever happens, happens. You had a break, and just don't be so hard on yourself. And I think that mentality and just being positive and just like staying in the right mindset of just being calm and unfazed when I was playing, that really helped me that week because I wouldn't be so emotional on the course. So I really think that's how I got through that week.
And also, was it yesterday or 2 days back? Another good news, yes?
Yesterday.
Okay, so that's today for you, right?
No, it was yesterday for me. So it was 2 days.
2 days ago for us, yes. Tell us about that.
It was our last tournament of the season, and we worked so hard. I worked incredibly hard for this last tournament, and playing. So we had 5 tournaments. I won the first one. The 3 in the middle were all right, not too bad, and I learned a lot from those weeks. And the week before, I played fairly well for a hard course, and I just took my mistakes from that week and worked very hard the week before, and with like my putting and stuff like that, including school, which was incredibly stressful for the whole team because we're coming to the end of the fall season. And just going into this week saying that, I'm just going to play my best. Last 54 holes of the season, whatever happens, happens. If I'm going to be cool and collected and calm on the course, I think it's always going to give me a great result. So that's what I did. And just said, just take one step at a time because I'm never going to play this course again, maybe in a year's time. So just enjoy the moment, stay in the moment. Don't think too far, don't think too much, don't have any doubts. And I've worked so hard and there's no point in me being nervous or distracted or having any doubts because I know I put in the work. So it's just time for me to be confident and trust it. So that's what I did.
Fantastic. Congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
You know, I'm sure it was thoroughly deserved. Uh, I want to move on to the next segment, but I see that we've already got a couple of questions on the chat box. So I would want to turn my attention to that and you know, address it for our audience. Julia here says, hi all, my question is to Zulaikah. What advice could you give to a young girl dreaming of becoming a professional golfer, you know, just like yourself?
I want to say that if you are wanting to become a professional golfer, one, ask yourself if this is actually what you really want to do, because it's going to take a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears to get here. And the best way is to come to the States, you know, play college golf and enjoy being a collegiate golfer here. There's so much opportunity here, and as well as in Malaysia, you know, starting with Sport Excel, the smaller tournaments and amateur tournaments back home, which is a really good starter for, you know, playing collegiate golf. But I guess my advice is, you know, be patient with the process, and hard work comes with success. So, you know, just be patient. You know, your parents nag you, just do it. You're doing it for a good reason, promise. And yeah, just stay patient, stay happy, you know, trust the process. It will happen one day. So yeah.
Fantastic answer, and I hope that addresses your question, Julia. Now, Terence here has a question again for Zulaikah. You're getting very popular here this morning. Morning all, my question is to Zulaikah. Do you regret choosing golf over a more, in inverted commas, supported sport in Malaysia? So perhaps, you know, things like badminton, to a certain extent diving, you know, in recent times, you know, those kind of things I suppose get a little bit more grassroots support and you know, funding, even squash to a certain extent, right? A lot of banking institution would sponsor the event, and they kind of get money to grow talent in that way. I know sports, I mean, I know golf does as well, but I suppose the question here would be, you know, has that ever crossed your mind and said, I should have picked up badminton, I should have picked up diving or something like that?
Well, I think like I mentioned before, I did try many sports, but if you're asking me regret, no, not at all. I don't regret picking golf, but in a sense of funding, maybe, because obviously golf is really expensive and it's, you know, taken probably ringgit 1 million from my parents. But I want to say no, I'm happy with what I picked, and you know, it's just sometimes I do feel like I wish I had more support, as in, like, you know, when you go to a golf course, you know, when members see you that you're a junior golfer and you're a girl, you don't get that much attention, or you don't get that recognition that, oh, you know, she might be good. As a junior golfer, I would always get picked on and saying that, oh, you know, that little girl, you know, she doesn't know how to play golf. Don't let her play. You know, so I wish I knew that would never happen if I was a badminton player or if I was a squash player. But I guess, just like I said, just have to really know that that's what you want to do. But I have no regrets. Golf is amazing, and I love the confidence that I've gotten with playing golf. And honestly, at the end of the day, the support that means the most is my parents. So it doesn't really matter to me. If I have their support, I don't need anybody else's support. Family, friends, that's the real support you get from me.
Great. And in fact, your last sentence there kind of correlate with one of the question here as well from Muhammad Izam. It says here, hi Zulaikah, how important is support by the parent in achieving what you have so far? So obviously we spoke about it at length as well already, but I suppose if there's anything you want to add on to that.
I guess, yeah, support from, especially for me, my parents, and like even family, like my aunts, my uncles, is so important for me, because being away from home, I have my girls here, my coaches here, and everybody does support everyone. But at the end of the day, nothing is like family. And even though I'm so far, I still call my parents every day, you know, wanting their support. And it's different when someone who's your friend over here and someone you've known your whole life telling you, that you is, giving you confidence. And I just, if it all has to start with like support from your family. For me personally, that really help me grow into the player I am today, I guess.
Nash and Kath, I suppose what's the big difference now that she's in the States and you are back here in Malaysia? I suppose when she used to play tournaments in Malaysia, you are literally at the green as well with her. Every stroke that she makes, every hit or every put, when she's putting, you kind of like you are literally blowing the ball into the hole. That sort of a thing, right? I'm sure I can imagine Nash there. How has that support changed? I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to go first? Well, when she was here, as you rightly pointed out, from tee off until she finishes the 18th hole, it's so nice to watch her play. But now we miss that. We really miss following her on the golf course because the college golf so far we haven't had any televised thing where she's playing. All we do is get the scores, delayed scores. Like I think we stayed up for the Kiawa Island, the one that she won 2 days ago. Mother didn't sleep the whole night. I got up about 2 o'clock, and we have the golfstat.com, and we can follow. So we miss that the most. That being there, watching her play, enjoying the moment with her. So that I think is the biggest difference now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. True.
I'm sure now that the borders are opening up and travel is opening up. We will wait for Zulaikah to participate in a big one, and then both you and Kat will be there to support her. I'm very sure of that. Now continuing on with Nash and Kath, perhaps just want to get your thoughts as parents as well, right? How do you think the education system now in Malaysia, how does it need to evolve or perhaps change or be enhanced to kind of support talent that are, talented kids in sports today? Back in the day in school, I'm from the Bukit Bintang Boys School in PJ, right? Okay. We have got 14 squash courts, 12 wall squash courts and 2 glass courts. And I can literally count, with 2 hands, how many people actually play squash in my school. Myself, one of them. I play quite a number of sports. I play squash in that sense. But the thing is, it's not translated. We kind of have the infrastructure, we kind of have the facilities, but something is missing there. I want to get your thoughts.
Okay. Okay. Infrastructure is one thing. I'm totally glad to hear the kind of infrastructure you had in your school, which is fantastic. But a lot of schools don't have the proper infrastructure. And golf, forget about it. There's no infrastructure in school for golf. You've got to take her outside. You've got infrastructure for mainstream sports, football, basketball, maybe volleyball, sepak takraw. But facilities, talking about golf, it's non-existent. All your training is outside school. And I think the other thing that I'd like to mention is this. I think one is the Asian mindset. Asian parents are so driven by academic results and qualification. Sports is put on the back burner. I feel that there should be a little bit more emphasis, maybe from the Ministry of Education or the schools, to elevate sports, because I think sports is so helpful to bring up a more rounded person, to help them with their academic qualifications, to help you study. You also need to have a healthy body, a proper mindset. So it's very important. But of course, discipline. Sport is fantastic for discipline. You know, like Zulaikah, if she's got a tournament, she has to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. The tee off is at about 7 o'clock. You get up at 5, you bathe, you have preparations and all that. So coming back to the issue of structure, there's not much great structure in the schools, and as well as I alluded to, the Asian parental mindset.
Okay. Now, Zulaikah, you mentioned a couple of things earlier. You know, being stressed out about school, there's too much work, and then training today is about, on average, 6 to 7 hours per day, and then stuff like that. We hear a lot of high-profile athletes that are suffering from burnout, you know, that have mental health, you know, struggles and stuff like that. I suppose, you know, how do you try to cope with that, especially with, you know, family being so far away as well, like you've mentioned, you know, calling daily and stuff like that. Yes, I do get that, but I'm sure it's also somewhat of a struggle as well. Tournament pressure would also be a little bit different as well when it comes to it.
Well, that's actually a great question, because that I have been working on my own mental health for this past year, and I think it's very important as a student athlete, even regular athlete, student. You know, there's so much schoolwork. You know, professors are gonna understand that you're a student athlete, but they're not gonna understand if you're gonna say, you know, I'm not understanding this, I can't do this homework. It's not acceptable. So you have to. It's definitely stressful. My girls and I have definitely had our fair share of mental breakdowns, and just being a girl in general, just going through all the emotions. And, you know, with mental health, it's you have to have a lot of support. So I call my parents every day, but, you know, they can't be there for me every single time. But, you know, with schools, and I think every school has like a counseling center. I know I've been there a couple of times, and they really help. You know, sometimes people think it's like really embarrassing to go for counseling or ask somebody else for help. But if you're really struggling and you can't go through it yourself, that's why these people get their degrees and actually have a profession in it for them to help you. Mm-hmm. So that's one other way for a student athlete to deal with mental health. And I've definitely gone through it, still going through it, and just like I said, just pushing through every single day, knowing that, you know, it's gonna be okay. Like if you have a problem with a professor or you're going through something with golf, I usually talk to my coach, talk to my girls, or talk to the counselor, you know, or my professors, and just say, hey, I'm going through something and I don't understand this, or I'm lacking in this. What do I need to do to help myself? So I think it's and I've learned to accept that it's okay to break down, and it's okay to not be all collected and calm and perfect. And it's fine to break down once in a while and just let it all out, because it's bound to happen. You're bound to have a mental breakthrough. You're gonna just get stressed out, and it will not be fine. And you just have to understand that, you know, you're gonna break down, but you're also gonna learn from it and get back up to, you know, where you want to be. So mental health is definitely one of the things that I've been stressing on for myself, putting it as a priority of mine, to always, you know, stay in the moment, stay positive, stay happy, doing things that I want, and just working hard for the things that I want to achieve. So, yeah.
That's wonderful to know. Wonderful to know. Nash and Kat, I think you don't have to worry. You truly have, you know, she's got a mature head on her shoulders, and you know, I'm sure she'll do well, especially with the continuous support from the both of you as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nash and Kat, any word of advice for parents? I know we spoke about this quite you know, in bits and pieces throughout the conversation, but I suppose, you know, it's like that, how we call it in Malaysia, the cepu emas kind of a thing. What is that one golden nugget you would give to parents who are trying to bring kids up who are talented in sports, but perhaps, may find some difficulty in, whether it's support financially, emotionally, and whatnot?
Like for me, I think the parents, at least one parent has to be around when during training and even training with the coaches. You cannot just drop them and then let the coach do the job. You have to be around to see what is the problem, and at least when they are not with the coach, you can also guide them when they're training on their own. So for me, that is the most important. Yeah.
I would agree that the advice to parents is this. When it comes to sports, you can choose a sport, discuss it with your child, because sometimes we can get carried away that, okay, we love this sport and there's so much we can do with this sport. But if the child, you talk to them, you find out from them whether they like it. But the most important thing I can tell any parent that is going to consider taking up sport, whatever sport it is time. You have to give your time. If you don't have the time, don't take on the project, because without the time, standing there, being there for hours with your kids, because after the training, you got to talk to them, you got to go to talk to the coach, find out, okay, what do I need to do? What else does she need to do? Because she's small, she's young, so she may not actually ask the right question. So you have to ask. So the major thing is time investment is the number one thing that a parent needs to realize and take part in, Andrew.
Good, great. Zulaikah, what's coming up next for you?
Well, we just finished our tournament yesterday, so now we're in off-season, we're in post-season, so not much golf because of NCAA rules. Coaches are only allowed 4 hours of golf and 4 hours of workouts. So basically, it's just adding more workouts and just not much golf, just focusing more on studies because it's also going to be finals in a month. So basically, it's just more of like, because in the fall season, we don't play as many tournaments. We play at least 4 or 5, but we're more busy in the spring, which we play 6 or 7 tournaments, not including our conference championship. So that's a very busy schedule. So this is like the season where we get to, focus on school a bit more and just work on what we need to work on for the rest of the season and into the winter. And so basically our schedule isn't going to be as packed as usual. Like we won't have practices after school in the morning. Maybe we would go play a round or 2 a week, but we do increase the number of times we go to the gym. So it's usually twice a week. So probably it would be more than 3 or 4 times a week now, since we're off season. So if we're sore or, hurting, or if we need treatment, this is the time for you to do it. So yeah.
And any idea when you will be back in Malaysia again?
I want to say next summer, which is in May, if my parents want me back. Yeah, I hope, with COVID and hopefully there's no lockdown, and because lockdown was just miserable for me. It's just, I got to spend a whole lot of time with my parents, but just not being able to hit a golf ball or at least practice was just torture for me. So don't really want to go through that again. But, if COVID's fine and, I have the opportunity to go home, hopefully in May till beginning of August, and then I'll come back here.
So I'm penciling in May for that driving range session. I will give Nash a call. So
you got it.
Any final words open to the floor, Nash, Kath, Zulaikah? Anything you would like to say?
Zulaikah, you want to go first? You're first.
I guess for anyone wanting to start golf or starting, wanting to come to college, honestly, coming to college, it's people usually think it's, you after high school, you straight away have to come here, and apply and stuff like that. It's not like that. You can come at any age. just, really understand and really do your research about how college golf is going to be. It's not going to be easy, especially if you're going to come to Division 1. Just mentally prepare not only for the golf, but for pressure of being away from home, being homesick. I get homesick all the time. And just, with school and stuff like that, you're basically going into the world alone. And for me, coming here at 16, turning 17 here and not knowing how to do anything, I think it was a great learning experience, and I'm still learning, I'm still growing, but I like the independence here. So if you want to continue, to do golf or any other sport, definitely college golf is one that you want to look into, but you have to be prepared for what you're getting yourself into. So, but promise it's amazing.
Great.
You have.
I'm the spokesman.
Yeah.
My advice to any parent out there, please pick a sport for your child because it's a fantastic tool. It builds confidence. It gets them away from the gadgets for a while, and the discipline factor. There's nothing like sports because it helps you interact with other people. It improves your social skills because I know a lot of kids who don't play sports don't have any social skills because they don't mix with other people. They don't have the discipline. You have to be disciplined if you want to play sports. It helps you grow as a person. And the example of Zulaikah now, if any parent considering to send their children overseas for studies, and just like us middle-income parents, sports, you can get scholarships to pursue, especially in America. For golf, there's only one place that is America. And there are a lot of scholarships out there for guys and especially for girls. There are more scholarships for girls to play golf in America, to play college golf. So
it can be Division 1 or Division 2.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to be like super great, but if you make the cut, you can make the grade. They accept you. You get to study in America. They pay your fees. You get there. You get to learn, to broaden your mind. To become a better person. So my advice to any parent out there, choose a sport because it doesn't matter how far they go in the sport, but it will definitely make them a better person. It definitely will. Definitely will.
Fantastic. And with that, we will wrap up the session. Nash and Kath, thank you so much for being with us today, and Zulaikah as well to you. The Rejuvenate team here is truly amazed by your maturity and your achievements so far, and we will definitely be keeping an eye on your progress as we move along as well. And as the title suggests, Road to LPGA, we would really like to see you represent Malaysia one day and make us proud as well. So Zulaikah, all the best to you. Stay safe in the States, and again, we wish all three of you well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew, and also to the team at Rejuvenate. Thanks for putting this together, and thanks for all those people who are listening in or watching. All the best to you, and take care of yourself.
Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we just kick-started Rejuvenate Edition 5. It's going to be an amazing 2 days. We've got a lot of fantastic speakers and guests who are lined up to be sharing a lot with us today on sports medicine, sports psychology. We've got an Samoan international rugby captain who will be joining us from New Zealand as well. We've got an entrepreneur who is into, making kids active again, just like what Nash was telling us, get the kids off the gadget for a little while and be a little bit more active in sports. And we've got great conversations. We've also got a Malaysian pro wrestler who will be talking to us later this evening. So a lot of people don't know in Malaysia, the wrestling scene is also thriving as well. So fantastic people. We've got fantastic individuals who are doing great work. Chandreshan, for example, is doing great work for the marginalized community in terms of using cricket to bridge that gap for these kids. So stay tuned with us. We will be back very, very shortly with Dr. Malini, and we've got a full day of lineup for everyone to enjoy for Rejuvenate Edition 5. So stay tuned, and I thank you for tuning in to the opening session of Rejuvenate Edition 5. Once again, Zulaikah and Nash and Kath, thank you for being on the show, and you know, bye-bye from us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.